What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be using this film to tint my taillights. Alright guys, so this should be a pretty simple install. I've got my film here. This is the same film I used to tint my headlights. And that worked out pretty well. I cut it on my vinyl cutter so I could get those perfect size circles for my headlights. But here I'm not gonna need to cut it in advance at all. I'm just gonna need to put it on there and then trim around the edges basically. So I'm just gonna clean my taillights really good, tape all around it, and then start with applying the tint. This is very flat, luckily, so I might have to use a little bit of heat, but not too much because there's really not much curve going on here. And I think I'll be able to do it in 3 separate sections because there is this dark seam between them, so that will hide the seam of the tint. I think I'll try to do all 3 sections at one time with a large piece. If it's too hard, I can always split it up, but I think it's gonna go faster if I just get one piece on there, and then I can split it on the seams and then cut the excess around the outside. And then I'll probably have to use just a little bit of heat to seal the edges up nice. So let's get started. Now I've got it roughly put on here. I'm gonna split the 3 sections so then it's a lot easier to deal with squeegeeing out each section to avoid any bubbles or ripples. All right guys, so that went really smoothly. I got that first big piece on there, and then once I got the 3 sections split up, I basically just worked from like the center out to get it kind of secured to the taillight. and I really didn't have any problems with bubbling. This film actually works out pretty nice. It's got enough thickness to it that it doesn't easily create air bubbles behind it. Then I just worked my way to the edge. I realized on the first one that having too much excess on the outside makes it a lot harder to get a nice edge here. So once I got more of the excess gone from the outer edge, I was able to use some heat and then just slowly curl it around. The hardest parts are on these curves, but like I said, if you cut it pretty close, it gets rid of most of the bubbles and the creases, and then the heat helps so much with getting rid of those as well. And also in here between the sections, you really cannot see unless you're like super close to it, if you can see like in the right light where the end of the tint is. I'm pretty happy with that, because if you could see the edge of the tint at all, you know, it just wouldn't look like a clean install. I'm thinking I like the look so far. I'm interested to get it outside and look at it with the rest of the car. Just from the factory, like these lower side markers, and then also the taillight on the trunk is a little bit darker. So I think now the taillights will more so match those, and it'll just give a cleaner overall look. I think before the red was just way too bright. It kind of really stood out with the rest of the car being so kind of stealth. And yeah, I was thinking about doing something super custom with the taillights, but I didn't want to rush into anything, and I think for now this is gonna just match the look a lot better. And so now we can get this outside and see how it looks with the rest of the car.